Hi, and welcome to yet another episode of Jensen's WordPress show. Today I'll teach you how to create a custom taxonomy. First of all, it would be a good idea to see whatever a custom taxonomy is. And in order to do that, I will try to give a sample. A taxonomy is if you try to classify something. You can have several objects and then you try to classify them. It could be like flowers, or it could be like music genres, something like that. In WordPress, we have some options for classifications. You could say that categories and tags are already kind of taxonomies, but sometimes it would be very nice to have other kinds of taxonomies. If you, for instance, develop a website for the lady you see here, and that's Honeysuckle, she has a very interesting blog about bentos, how to make them, and food, and how to prepare it, and she is very interesting to follow. But if she wanted to have a WordPress website and you were to develop it, she might want to have some custom categories. It could be stuff like bentos, and the bentos could have subcategories such as for adults or kids. And then again, you could have vegan or meat or vegetarian or whatever subcategories that you want to use. And these taxonomies you could create manually in WordPress. Now you have two options if you want to create a taxonomy. The first option is to write the code in functions PHP, and the other one is to write it as a plugin. If you create it in functions PHP, you'll have a problem, and that problem is if you change your theme, then the taxonomy will disappear because it's created with the theme. And then the best option, in my opinion, is the second option, and that is to create the taxonomies that you want to have as a plugin where you or your user can create taxonomies. But how is this done? How do you create a plugin? And that's what I'll demonstrate here. Now, the thing you use when you want to create a taxonomy is this function. It's called register taxonomy. Then you give it a name and you write whether it's for posts or pages or archives or whatever it is. And then you also send some arguments. $args is arguments that you want to add to it. And when you want to create a plugin, then you begin the file, you give the file a name. It could be my taxonomy. That would be a very boring name, but you could probably come up with something else. It's important that your plugin has the last name .php, because this will tell the system that it's a PHP file. And as you can see on the first line of the code, there's a smaller than and a question mark and PHP. This will tell the system that now we'll have some PHP code. And then you see a comment, and the comment must be formatted more or less like what you see here. At least there should be a plugin name and a description. Whether you want to have the author and the author URI and so on, that's up to you. But the important thing here is to write plugin name and a colon, and then whatever your name is, and then give it a description, because this is what you will see in your dashboard. Now, the function we use when we want to create the taxonomy is this. You can, of course, give the function any name as you can in PHP. You can see that I have chosen to call it PHP_register taxonomy, just in order to tell what this function does. And then between these two curly brackets, the code will come. And I have split the code in two just to make it clearer what the code does. The first part of it is this part. You can see that the curly brackets ends here, and then we have some labels. The labels are used in the dashboard when you create new taxonomies. So you write the name of it. If it's like music, you would probably write a name here in the plural tense. And what you see here is taxonomies. If it was music or flowers, then you would write something like music genre or something like that, or just genres of music. And then you'll have a singular name and other options that you use, like parent items and an edit option and add new item and so on. If you want to add a new taxonomy, this is the text that you need in order to create it. And the underscore and parentheses just tells WordPress that you have a string here that you want to use in your code. And then when you have this underscore parentheses, it's actually a sign for WordPress that this line could be translated. So if you upload this plugin for WordPress, then other countries might want to translate your work. So it's a good practice always to do this. And the underscore X you see here just means that this is a mandatory field. Then we have some arguments, and the arguments are different options that you have, and there are far more than you see here, and you should really go to the documentation pages in WordPress about the register taxonomy, because you can add many more options here, but I have just chosen the ones that I find most important. The first one is hierarchical, and I have set that to true. This means that you could have music, and then you could have classic, and under classic you could have Menuet and stuff like that. So that's what the hierarchical means. You could also have this one named false, and if it's false you can't have subcategories. And then you have some whether the UI should be shown, and rewrite, and whether it should be shown in the rest if you use that, and whether there is an archive for this taxonomy. And then the function ends with a call to register taxonomy, and in this case it will register the taxonomy. It will be a thing that will be used for posts, and then the arguments that we have up here will be sent to, and then this will create the taxonomy. And then you only need one more step, and that step is to add the action, and that is the last line of the plugin. You could say that you hook into the initialization, so you could say that here we add an action, it's hooked into init, and then we call the name of the function that we want to initialize, and then that is the code that we need. Here you see the finished plugin. You see from line 11 here that I have marked is the function, and the function is called here in add action. You could see that it's PETJ register taxonomy, and you see the same thing down here in line 42. And then you can see all of the codes here, from this curly bracket to that curly bracket. You can see the code. And then, of course, the next step is to install the plugin. Here you see my GitHub repository. My GitHub repository is called github.com/aethathor, as you see it here, /plugins. And the plugin that we want to see or use is this one. You can see that in this directory we have 3 files. One called readme, that's just this explanation. Then we have a blank index.php for security reasons. And then the code that I just demonstrated a moment ago is found here in taxonomies.php. And in reality, this is the file that will create the plugin on your WordPress installation. So the next step would be to get this code, and an easy way to do that is to go to my plugins repo here, and then if you know how to use GitHub, you can of course fork my repo, and then you can work on it on your own. You can fork it and then make a clone to your own computer and contribute to the code there. Or you could simply click on this green button here and then say download zip. And in this case, I think we will download it to the desktop. So we could just call it GitHub. And then we download it there. I think it's downloaded now. It's just a very small file. So let's see it in Finder then. Here we have it. Here is the zip file. Now we will need to unzip the files. Here they are, because we only need a copy of PETJ taxonomies. So in order to create that zip file, we could just, I'll make this a little bit larger now, we create a zip of the folder called PETJ taxonomies. So I'll right click here, and then it's called compress, I guess, in English. And here we have the file that we need for the plugin. So that's all you have to do. Simply open the folder here or directory and then create a zip file, and then you can use it from your WordPress installation. I try to install it right away, so I can go to my sandbox. It's made for experiments anyway, so it won't hurt to go there. And here you can go to the dashboard and go to plugins, and I should probably deactivate this one and even delete it, because this was made when I tested it. So delete. Yeah. Now I can install the plugin. So you simply go here to plugins and add new and upload plugin and select the file, and then you have to find where you added it. Here it is. Here is the taxonomy zip file. We open it, and then you can install it and activate it. And as you can see now, the plugin has been activated. Let's see if we can find it here on the list. Somewhere it is. Here it is, Taxonomies English version by me. And you may recognize the text here from our comments in the top of the PHP file. And if we go to the plugin editor, and here you should really touch nothing, but you can go in here and just have a look at what's inside the files here. Here you can see it. This is my function, register taxonomy. Here are the arguments, and here's the add action. So you can see that now this is part of the WordPress installation. And if you want to use it, you can simply go to Hierarchical Taxonomies here, and then you can begin to add your taxonomies. Let's try to add one. So let's say that we are trying to create food genres. So here we have some kind of, we could say, what could we call it? Course. And we could call it courses. And then we can, on the website, and then you create the taxonomy. Now we have, I think it should be courses, because it's a parent category, so it will have several subcategories in a moment. So we'll just update it. That's better. And now we have a parent level category. Let's try to create a child level category. So courses could be bentos, and here we have bentos, and then bentos are some of the favorite Japanese boxes for your lunch. And then we create it, and in this case it's a subcategory. So we use the parent taxonomy in order to do that. So here the courses is a parent taxonomy, and now we can create the taxonomy. Here you see it, we have courses and bentos. And this one was just a test one that I made a moment ago, so you could delete that one right away. I think that that's what I'll do here. So just so that you can see that you can actually edit your taxonomies here. But as you can see, now it is possible to create several kinds of taxonomies. You can make groups and regroup them and so on as you want to. Now if we go to the new, to posts, then you can see that you can add a new post. And we could do that right away. So here's the course, my new bento. And then we add a little bit of text here, or an image or whatever that we like to have. So now we should have it from the Media Lab, I think. And I don't have a bento, but we could use this. Just imagine that this is some delicious food. It isn't, but you can always imagine. And then you can edit the text in whatever way you want to. But the important thing is actually when we get down here, you click on Advanced, and then you can, oh sorry, we should go to the document, that is. And then you can see here that we have some hierarchical taxonomies. You can see we have courses, and since this was an attempt to make a bento, we can add it. And then you can just click on Publish. And now this article is part of the taxonomy called courses and bentos. So if we go back to our posts, and if we have a look at all of them, you can see here that we have taxonomies, and we can see that it is bentos and courses. And you can even click on this one, and then you will see all the articles that are in this category. And let's try to add the thing to a menu. You can do that too. So if you go to Appearance and Menus, you can, oh, this one is not active, so let's just remove it. But let's try to save the menu now. I think, yes, now it's okay. But you can actually add things from the taxonomies to your menu. So in this case, I can add bentos. If I wanted to, I could add the top level called courses. But if I wanted to do that, I would have to create a page for it. And then just name it courses. It's as simple as that. But if you want to add, for instance, bentos, you can do that. And if you go there, you can see that we have bentos here. And we could even add courses. And then, of course, we could create a menu in levels here. And then let's save it. And go to the web page. Here you see courses and bentos. Oh, this one says that the page is not found. And that's actually good, because if it had found the page, I would forget to say what to do when this happens, because there's no reason for panic here. You simply have to go to your dashboard. Mine is a little bit slow today, I don't know why. And then you go to permalinks, and this is important, because in permalinks, don't change anything, just press Save Changes. That's all you have to do. So press Save Changes. Now it's saved. Let's try out our menu now, see if it works. Courses, bentos, and here they are. Now the taxonomy is active. Here you see the article and the weird bento with a stone in it. And then the web page is almost ready to go. That is, can you click here? Yes, you can. So this is how you create taxonomies in WordPress. The code for it is like 40 lines, something like that. And now you're actually able to create whatever taxonomies you want to make. So good luck with the taxonomies. If you have questions, feel free to ask below. If you like the video, you can like it, and as always, you're able to subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more about WordPress. You will be updated every time I make a new tutorial. So thanks for watching, and see you. Bye bye.